There's a massive gap between how banks designed their savings tools and how real life actually works. And that's when I realized banks don't actually plan for the in-between seasons of our lives. I went full finance nerd to figure things out. Real financial planning needs to flex with your life, not shame you for having a life. What if I told you the way that banks teach us to save is actually outdated? The most important moments in your life, the ones that change everything, aren't even part of the savings advice that you've been getting. Because the truth is, most banks only teach you to save for two things: emergencies or retirement. But what about all the life that happens in between? Welcome to Living LyfStyled. I'm Ivy K, a nerd dressed up like a mom. With 15 years of experience in finance, I'm now using that same knowledge to build lifestyle and financial freedom without burnout, hustle, or waiting for someday. And I'm sharing the blueprint in real time. And I can tell you, there's a massive gap between how banks designed their savings tools and how real life actually works. On this video, I'm pulling back the curtain on the traditional savings advice and why it fails people like us. If you've ever tried to plan for maternity leave, a career break, a relocation, or even just to take rest, you'll probably realize the system wasn't built for that. Today, I want to show you a better way to save, one that is finally designed for modern life. I call it transition-based savings, because real life isn't lived in emergencies or retirement. It's lived in transitions, and the tools that we use to save should reflect that. Here's the thing: banks plan for crisis or retirement, not the life in between. Banks love to push two main things: your emergency fund and your retirement account. And don't get me wrong, those are important, but they're not enough. They assume that if you're not in crisis and you're not 65, you must be financially okay or just financially fine. But that's not how real life works. When I became a parent for the first time, we had saved up for the baby gear, but I didn't prepare for everything else. Shortly after our son was born, our elderly parents fell ill, and we had to step up in taking care of them a lot more. For us, this meant taking care of our elderly parents, adjusting to life as new parents ourselves, and somehow I had to return to my 9-to-5 job. It was just too much. I burned out. My doctor referred me to a physician's assistant for mental health support. I eventually dropped my regular working hours from 40 hours, 5 days a week, to 24 hours working 3 days a week, which of course affected our income. So when I found out I was pregnant with our second one, I remembered how trapped I actually felt during that first period. The emotional overwhelm, the financial constraint, and the pressure to just figure it all out was so much. So this time, I said not again. I decided to take extended maternity leave, enough to recover and adjust, enough to support both my kids and our aging parents. But here's the shocker. There was no model for how to plan that at all. There was no parental pivot fund that I could find. Nothing to help me calculate how much I needed in order to buy back 3 months of my time from my 9-to-5. And an emergency fund wouldn't work for this. And a retirement account is locked away. You can't even touch it. And yet, this is one of the biggest transitions in my life. I needed a plan, but there was no blueprint. And here's the thing. Cookie cutter advice doesn't fit complex lives. Most advice goes something like this. Save 10 to 20% of your income. Build a 6-month emergency fund. And max out on retirement. But what if you're freelancing? Or switching fields in your current job? Or raising a family on 2 part-time incomes? Real financial planning needs to flex with your life, not shame you for having a life. That's why I created the transition-based savings and the transition fund calculator. Because no one was helping us save for the in-between chapters of our lives where all the life was actually happening. I keep asking this question, but think about it. Have you ever needed a break, but didn't know how to afford it? Drop yes in the comments down below if you've ever felt that tension between your desire to slow things down and the reality of the dollars in your bank account. I nerded out, and here's what I found out. I went full finance nerd to figure things out. I thought maybe the banks do offer something like this, and I just hadn't looked hard enough. So I did a deep dive. All I wanted was to use a regular product and perhaps repurpose it for my transition fund that I'm currently building for the extended maternity leave that I'll be taking. What I found was that nothing really fits, and the problem wasn't just the lack of options. It was also kind of like the lack of imagination. Banks weren't imagining someone like me. Here's what my deep dive revealed. There's regular savings. These are basic and they easy access, low interest, and almost designed for just in case type of savings. Think about your rainy day fund. I might need this later, but it doesn't really serve the purpose of what I was looking for. Then there was the high yield savings account. These are slightly better rates in terms of interest, and they are usually only available online. This is great for stashing money for the long term, but they still don't ask why you're saving or help you match the savings to your goal. Then there's the money market accounts. These give you a mix of savings with limited spending. Often they also come with like writing checks. They offer flexibility, but again, no real guidance for transitions. And then you find your certificates of deposits. These lock up your money for a fixed term in exchange for a higher interest rate. This isn't really ideal if you suddenly want to take up unpaid leave or move to another city. Life doesn't give you 6 months of notice in order to withdraw your money. And that's the limitation with the certificates of deposits. Then there's all sorts of specialized accounts, like the kids account, students account, senior citizens perks, health savings accounts, cash management tools that all are really helpful, but not for a life-changing event. Not a single one of these helped me calculate what I needed for an unpaid leave, or plan for time off, or take a step back for my career without falling apart. And here's the kicker. You can check this out yourself. Not a single one of these is designed to help you prepare for a lifestyle pivot. None of them help you calculate how much you need to save for a season of change. And none of them were built with real life transitions in mind. I ended up changing the name of a regular savings account into transition fund just to create some sort of structure for myself within my banking app. And that's when I realized banks don't actually plan for the in-between seasons of our lives. They don't see the way that we live, but LyfStyled does. That's why I created the transition fund. It's not just a tool, it's a new category of saving, transition-based savings. This is savings that match your moment. It's for the season where you want to take a break, change your career, move countries, start something new, pause for your health or for your family, or finally give yourself permission to just make that change that you always wanted to make. If you want to calculate your own transition fund goal, I've made the tool available for free for a limited time to the first 100 users for now. All I ask is that you give me honest feedback. Just check the link in the description down below. And don't let banks define what freedom looks like for you. Start defining it yourself. Here's how the transition fund fills the gap. The transition fund is not just a savings account. It's a savings strategy. One designed to support the biggest changes in your life. The moment that you actually shape who you want to become. Whether you're preparing for a move, a break, a new chapter, or just need breathing room. This tool helps you to calculate exactly what you need to feel ready. And the best part is that to achieve the lifestyle freedom you seek, it's not about having thousands. It's about having clarity. Because when you know your number, you stop feeling stuck and start feeling ready. The current saving solutions from banks are missing something for people like us. People living layered lives. People building their freedom one season at a time. But here at LyfStyled, it has been built. So this is an invitation for you to stop saving the old way and start saving the way your real life actually works. Because freedom isn't just a number in your account. It's knowing what you need and having the tools to go after it. Are you ready to build your freedom? Have you subscribed to my channel? Don't forget to try the transition fund calculator. It just might change everything. Now you know what banks get wrong. And you now see why traditional savings advice doesn't actually fit real life. But there's still one big piece that is missing. How much money you actually need for your next life transition. And it's actually a real danger if you save the wrong amount because you still might end up stuck. So don't stop here. Watch this video next and learn how to avoid that trap. From a nerd dressed like a mom, I'll see you in the next video to keep building freedom one decision at a time.